Hello and welcome back to my writing blog series about Project Katrina. This is writing blog number 26 and I'm going to work on the chapter 9. However, I might do 2 chapters in this writing blog, but I'm not sure how much I will get to do. Chapter 9 needs a new intro before it can be combined with the existing chapter I have. And the next 1 or 2 chapters I will basically keep as they are, so I think I will combine these 2 or 3 chapters into this writing blog. But I am going to continue working on this story, and in the chapter I wrote a few days ago, I had this big dinner scene at a restaurant where my main character meets up with Dina and her family, and my main character gets to talk to this young guy that she's interested in, but she can't do anything about it, unfortunately. This chapter is a direct consequence of what happened in in the previous chapter, because it ended on a bit of a low. Yeah, it was about how money doesn't make things easier, or money does make things easier in a modern society. However, it can't buy you happiness, and if she can't get the life she wants, she's going to at least try and want the life that she's got. After she has had some time to think about things, she's again sad, and she's reminded of her own life and what she's missing out on because she can't go back to that. I'll get to work on the novel, and then I will see what I will end up adding or changing or deleting or whatever I'm going to do. I hope and I think that I'm basically going to keep all of the next chapter that I have. That is going to be chapter 9 in this new version. I believe it was chapter 10 in the old version. Yes, I have a brief outline for it. I have changed things during the course of writing this or adjusting this, so the rest of the chapter, or which is the main part of it, actually is going to be kept, and chapter 10 is now chapter 9. But as I said, I'm going to add a bit to the start of the chapter, so it doesn't just go directly to to something without a lead up and without some kind of explanation of how she's doing and what she's thinking. But I'll get to it.
Yeah. Oh, oh. Can I escape the pain? Can I dismiss the hurt? Oh, oh, oh. Can I feel free again? Forgetting your evil words. I need a bridge over this sea of hurt. That's the only way I can escape your words. I need a bridge, 'cause there's hurt in this sea. It overflows like I feel the tears from my heart inside of me. Then you just let me down. Never meant to hurt you. You said and turned around, this isn't what I meant to. But can you tell me why I should take you back now? Then all the tears I cried were a waste of time somehow. I was happy back then, but we'll never be again. So I cry a last tear or two. I'll take out the dart and put it into the sea of you. I need a bridge over this sea of hurt. That's the only way I can escape your words. I need a bridge, 'cause there's hurt in this sea. It overflows like I feel the tears from my heart inside of me.
Hello again. I have written a new intro to this chapter. I don't know if you can call it an intro, but I have written a few new pages for this chapter, so it doesn't just start with something out of the blue. I had something at the beginning of this chapter in the old version that I removed because it wouldn't fit with this new version that I'm writing. So I have written just above 1,000 words for this. The number of words in total in my document isn't that accurate because I have been keeping the short outline I have for each chapter that I'm writing a new version of, or I'm keeping for this example or for this chapter I have still a few lines about what I wanted to include in this first part of this chapter. So I hope it flows and it makes sense, and that it's I actually managed to come back to the dog. The dog is quite important in this story, even though it's not a main character per se. It's something my character clings to and wants to have around her, if it makes sense. But this chapter is basically about how things change again. This part of the novel is the push plot point, I think, and this is what pushes her, either metaphorically or literally. She's pushed into this new situation, and this is the turning point that I've been talking about, that I wanted to include something more ingrained in the first part of the story, so it's better merged with the rest of the story, instead of we have the before and the after. I make some ties between the two before and after parts, and I have included other characters in the before whom we are going to meet after as well, and the dog is one of these returning characters as well. And I like the fact that I've come back to the dog because she's out walking the dog when there's a shift in the story. And Dina and her family and Katrina talk about dogs, among other things, at this dinner they had at the restaurant in the previous chapter, because this young man who comes along with his family, his mother, who works together with my main character, he comes over to the restaurant later than the others, and when he walks in, they recognize each other, and he's like, "Oh, fancy meeting you here," and Katrina is like, "Oh, okay, so it's you." And then the others are kind of like, "Okay, do you know each other and why?" And then they explain how they just briefly met each other, and that this young man petted Katrina's dog, but Katrina has to point out that it's actually not her dog, and it's a dog that she walks for one of her neighbors, an elderly woman who can't walk the dog herself. They also talk about other things, but that's not the main part. I just wanted to include something about the dogs in the previous chapter because it will be a returning thing in the novel. I'm not going to say a returning theme. I don't think a dog or dogs in plural can be themes in a story, but a dog is the man's best friend, as some people say, and dogs are loyal. At least most dogs are loyal to their owner, and they're friendly and open and eager, and I think that's exactly what Katrina needs to have in her life. When everything else is going bad, she needs something positive and something to more or less pull her forward. So this dog is actually eager to go out for a walk, and it pulls on the leash, and Katrina has to whoa, oh, slow down. We're going too fast, but she starts running to keep up with the dog anyway. But that's a side note. But this dog has been mentioned before. We have met it before one time, and then we're meeting it again in this chapter, and then it will be the dog that my main character will seek out later, because it's something that she knows. And if she can't have the old life that she knew and loved, because she can't go back to that, she might as well cling to something else that's familiar to her. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense, but I hope it makes enough sense to not confuse or puzzle the reader, and so they go, okay, why is this dog so important? But it's important to my main character, and I hope to make that clear, so it's hopefully not out of left field. I hope it's not something out of the blue for anyone who reads this story. But yes, a bit over 1,000 words added, and as I said earlier, I have kept a few paragraphs of outline ideas. I don't write the prose directly in the outline. I just kind of make a summary of what I want to have happen in the chapter or the paragraph that I'm adding, and then I have something to expand upon when I do the writing. But yes, that was chapter 9. I'm going to take a look at the next chapter and see what I'm going to do with that, if I will just leave it be or what, but I'm going to read through it and then get back to you. Okay, I just wanted to give you a quick update. I haven't started working on this chapter yet, but I'm looking at the first few paragraphs of this chapter that I'm going to work on now, and I realized that because I have made changes in previous chapters, I need to adjust this so my main character's thoughts, feelings, and reactions to this new situation makes more sense, because she kind of knows stuff now in this version that she didn't do before, and this chapter has to reflect that. So I will try and do that. Okay, so now I'm done with the chapter 10 in this new version. I deleted a few things here and there, a few sentences that I feel like no longer belong in the story, but I added a bit as well. So I think that the number of words in this chapter is generally the same as before. As I said, I added something, but I removed something as well, but mostly it was about adjusting specific things in the story so it matches what I have written previously. I state something about what happened earlier, but then in this chapter someone else talks about what happened, and then it's something else, and that's something I didn't catch in the first read through. I don't know why I let that slip, or maybe it's because I adjusted it earlier in the story. I've gone through it before, and so I might have made changes that don't correspond to what I have written otherwise in the story, but I hope to fix things like that when I do the next read through. I'm not sure if I'm going to make writing vlogs about that, but we will see. It will take some time to get this story fully ready to be published, so I think I will switch to something else and then do this on my own time, if you can call it that, and then just do it, work on it here and there, and not make writing vlogs about that, but about another project. The other project maybe Auras of Faith / Fate. I want to get back to that as well, but maybe it's still too soon to go through that, because it hasn't been that long since I wrote that novel. But yes, in terms of this chapter, I changed a few things, as I said, and the chapter is almost 6,000 words long, so maybe I should trim it down a bit more. The main character and these people that she has met again are having sandwiches and just hanging out and talking, and maybe I need this chapter because it's a consequence of what happened at the end of the previous chapter, and so I need to have something to transition into this new world. But the next chapter I have is a continuation of this transition into the new world, and maybe I can delete the entire chapter. I'm not sure. I don't remember what I actually wrote in that chapter, but I think and I hope that I should trim that down so we get to the next part of the story instead of being stuck here in this limbo between the before and the after. This is kind of like the direct effect of what happened earlier, as I said, and I don't think I need 2 chapters for that. So I will see when I get to do the next writing log what I'm going to do about the next chapter. But yes, there are still things to do with this story, and I am not even halfway through if this chapter list I have in the side of the document is correct. It might change. I don't think it will change a lot, but I'm at chapter 10 now. If my outline or the ideas for this new outline match what I had in mind, then I will end up with 30 chapters. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but about 30, so I'm 1/3 through this story. But yes, some chapters will be hard to work on and some will be easier. I'm not sure if this was easy or hard, but I couldn't just keep all of it or delete all of it. I had to read through everything and then make changes, so it hopefully is merged well enough with what I have written before. But yes, that's it for this writing log. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will watch the next one. Until then, take care. Thank you for watching.